Hello, and welcome to episode 1 of Soundbites on Wiz Sports Radio. Soundbites was designed to provide you with practical information on holistic nutrition. On each episode, we feature a new topic to empower you to make healthier choices so you can improve your overall health, performance, and prevent disease. I am your host, MC, and I'd like to welcome you to this brand new series about holistic nutrition for athletes. Before we dive into today's topic, I'd love to tell you a little bit more about myself and what really created this passion for health and fitness. So I am originally from Mexico. I grew up in a small town called Piedras Negras. And since I can remember, I have always been full of energy. Growing up, I did gymnastics, ballet, flamenco, and interestingly, I was never really interested in sports. It wasn't until the age of 20 that I discovered the world of triathlons, which my first reaction was, who pays for this stuff? No joke. And I have to say that doing triathlons really helped me transform my life. It was definitely not an overnight transformation, but definitely a stepping stone. Now, my interest for health and fitness evolved during my late teen years when I began to develop a quite unhealthy relationship with food and my body, something that honestly at the time I was unaware of. I became obsessed with my appearance, with counting calories, diets, you name it. Now, this obsession turned into an eating disorder that lasted for over 7 years. Now, here's the most interesting part. I went to countless nutritionists, doctors, therapy, spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and I just didn't seem to get better. And my focus was always 100% on food. I honestly believed that food was going to be the answer to my problem. And through my healing journey, it's actually how I came across holistic nutrition, mindfulness techniques, self-care, gut health. And it wasn't until I switched my focus from only food and implemented different approaches that I was able to heal from the inside out. Now, long story short, if I could summarize my experience, it would be like this. In order to achieve lasting health, you must take into consideration the individual as a whole, and understanding our biological differences is key to achieving lasting health. Now, I have to say that what once was my biggest nightmare has now become one of my greatest gifts. As of now, I get to work with endurance athletes, using my knowledge gathered throughout the years to support them with nutrition, fueling techniques, mindful practices, so that they can improve performance without putting their health at risk. I am super excited to share with you useful tips that will allow you to understand your personal needs. Now, on this episode, I will be sharing with you some of the reasons of why I believe holistic nutrition is the best way to promote health, longevity, and improve performance. Now, I'm going to get started with the mindfulness component just because that is something that a lot of people forget about. Starting from the inside out. The reality is that if you are overeating, undereating, you have, problems with your body image, there is an underlying cause, and you will not be able to see a real change, until you are able to address the root cause. Now, the goal is that through journaling, personal development, meditation, relaxation, whatever works for you, you focus on finding that root cause that's causing you to overeat, asking yourself, what is your relationship with food? What is your relationship with your body? What are your thoughts about food? What are your beliefs about food? What are your emotional attachments? Do you eat when you're sad? Do you eat when you're happy? Do you eat when you're anxious? This is super important, guys. Your thoughts create your reality, and then your thoughts determine your actions, which then determine your results. And I'll give you a quick example so that this makes more sense. I used to believe that by changing the way I ate, I was going to overcome my eating disorder. So I took action. My action was like, I tried thousands of diets. So my results were not good because my belief was tied to an identity, and I was just not seeing results. And I kept implementing the same thing, wanting different results, which is insane. Now, later on, I realized that if I chose more empowering beliefs, like saying, if I love myself, if I truly learn to love myself, I will get better. So my actions were different. I started to work on myself, pay attention to my thoughts. I began to do more personal development, and my results were impressive. Now, I do want to add something. It's not about doing one or the other. The reality is that by doing and implementing holistic nutrition, you look at the individual as a whole. You take food into consideration as well as mindfulness. So it's not one or the other, but a combination of the two. Now, another reason why I believe holistic nutrition is just amazing, it's because it focuses on the individual. The whole concept of generalized nutrition focuses on one size fits all. And it really doesn't take into consideration genetic makeup or microbiome, lifestyle, and environment. Things that I will be covering in detail on later episodes. And this is actually something that took me a while to understand, that just because something is healthy, it doesn't mean it's healthy for you. I'll give you an example for this one. Have you ever eaten, let's say, kale or quinoa, taken probiotics, and found yourself super uncomfortable? Take a moment to think about that. And then you ask yourself, I just ate really healthy. Why am I not feeling well? Now, the answer to that is due to your biological uniqueness. And this is something that a lot of people might not agree with, because we think of healthy as generalized. We don't look at what works for us personally. Now, what's the solution? Like, how do you know what really works for you? My number one recommendation for anyone who asks me that question is to keep a food journal for a week. Write down simply how you feel after each meal. That's something that I personally implemented, and it worked amazing for me because I was actually able to get in contact with my body and see which foods worked for me. Now, the things that I recommend you look for are, how is your energy after eating? Do you feel bloated, or do you feel that you don't feel bloated? Do you have brain fog? How is your digestion? Simple things that you can look at to see how the food that you're eating is affecting you. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, and this is the most exciting for me, is with holistic nutrition, there is no more dieting. Isn't that amazing? Can you think about it like you don't have to diet ever again? There are so many diets out there: the ketogenic, high protein, high carb, low carb, vegetarian, vegan, all of that stuff. My suggestion is stop labeling. With holistic nutrition, there's no more guessing, no more losing and gaining the same weight over and over and over and over again, just because you find what works for you. I will give you two examples that are related to your genetic makeup. Let's say you decide to jump into the ketogenic diet, which basically means higher fat intake, moderate protein, and low carbohydrate. And this is something that I actually tried myself. there is a gene that's called ApoE that it's involved in lipid metabolism and cholesterol transport. If you lack that gene, you are not likely to do well on a high-fat, low-carb diet. And if you find yourself having hormonal imbalance, weight gain, brain fog, digestion problems, it might be because of that. So now ketogenic diets are so popular and everyone's jumping into that wagon just because it's working for others. But then you find yourself doing it, not working for you. You keep pushing and pushing. And then sadly, something that you are doing because you want to be healthier end up causing you health problems. And that's because we have become so disconnected with our bodies that we do what we are told rather than listening to our bodies and truly understanding what our body is trying to tell us. Now, the other example I want to give you, and this is coming from a vegetarian diet, and that's because I was vegetarian for 7 years. There is a gene called BCM01 that actually converts beta carotene into vitamin A. Now, a lot of people lack that gene that makes that conversion. And if you are vegetarian and lack that gene, you are likely to develop a vitamin A deficiency. And we all know that vegetarian diets are known to be super healthy. And I am not saying that you should not follow a vegetarian diet. There are actually a lot of people that thrive on a vegetarian diet. But it's very different to say, I'm going to do a vegetarian diet because this works for me by doing the research that you need in order to benefit from the vegetarian diet rather than just doing it because everyone else is doing it or because you think it's cool. Or because, like me, you want to be in more of control of what you eat. That's another story. But the point is that vitamin A in its natural state, it's only found in animal foods. So those are just two examples for you to think about where it comes to dieting or picking a specific diet. Now, what's the solution for that? There's two things. The first one, like I said, is going to be journaling. If you eat and then write down the foods that you're eating and the symptoms that you're having, whether they're good or bad, that's going to be a great way for you to see what you're eating is actually helping you. Now, another thing that you could do is testing. There's a great website that you can go to that's called 23andMe that will give you your genetic makeup so that you can know what is it that will benefit you when it comes to nutrition. Okay, guys, so that is all for today. I hope you found this helpful. And if you like more information, feel free to visit my Facebook or Instagram account. I will add that information on the show notes along with the links that I provided you on this show. You can also email info@wissports.com with any questions you may have about nutrition. There will also be links in the show notes with this episode at wissports.com. Just go to listen and click on sound bites for more conversations from the world of women's sports. Visit wissports.com and subscribe to Wisp Sports Radio on your podcast player. Thank you for listening and supporting women in sport.